Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
Bell and Company.
Yes, it is another episode here of Bell and Company. It happens to be a Sunday a little earlier because it was daylight saving time. So instead of going later, we went earlier. So if you're watching live on Sunday, you'll see we're on a different time today. But that's okay. We're here still on a Sunday afternoon doing Bell and Company. I am the Bell, Mario J. Bell. The voice you hear on there is, of course, Libby, my co-host Libby. Hey, Libby.
Hi. How's
You
everyone
having a
doing?
good day? You're not
Libby.
drinking for St. Patrick's Day yet, are you?
No, not yet.
Okay, good. And I also want to welcome Joe, who also helps get all the great guests we have on here. Hey, Joe.
Howdy.
Have you been at any parties drinking before today?
No, I've actually kind of calmed off of drinking at all, really, and just kind of trying to focus more on like my book. Trying to get it out there.
Oh, and we've been forgetting to talk about it. I mean, I share it on Facebook for people that are friends of mine on Facebook, Mario J. Bell / Santa Cana. We don't say my name. But you're having an event not next week, but the following week. If you're live, we'll just say the date, the 22nd.
Yeah, the 22nd at Black Dog Vinyl Cafe in Plainfield. It's kind of like a reading, a signing, and selling some books, and just it's more of like a celebration for the launch of the websites, because I've mostly just been schlepping the books around and selling them.
So now they can buy on the
it's
site.
going to be ordered, by
Nice.
people online. So
And now
make
you
it
just
a
got to
little
pay
easier.
the shipping, or they do maybe.
Yeah, I'm gonna charge for shipping.
Oh, he's going to charge for shipping, everybody, but not much, right? A couple bucks, right?
What's the book about?
That's pretty cool.
Well, this book is my third book. My first one was a memoir. It was more about my drug addiction through high school. I was homeless for a bit.
Wow.
So, like, to you working with Streetwise is
Yeah, we'll
huge for
get
me.
to you in a second.
But,
Don't worry. In fact, why don't we just introduce you? You guys started talking. And our guest today, he's in on the conversation. Welcome.
Hi, Judd Lofchie. I'm the founder of Streetwise. in
That's
Chicago.
awesome. Hi, Joe. Welcome to the show. So Joe already brought it up. So go ahead. You're one of the things that brought you to the book as well. Homelessness.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
the-
So my first book was the memoir, and that's on Amazon. Just kind of put it out there for 99 cents. It's like 110 pages. And then second one was like a poetry book. This one is like a children's book. It's called Henry the Hyper Hippo. It's about childhood ADHD.
Cool.
And
Which you actually wrote technically when you were like 10 or something, right? Or 12. You had the idea.
yeah, I wrote it when I was 10, and then I reimagined it from the perspective of somebody who discovered they had ADHD.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
So that's on the 22nd of March.
yeah.
For everybody watching it live, we're still in March of
Yeah.
2025. See, it gets like when you watch these shows after they've been live for a while, like say, they might be watching a year from now. So I kind of like to give people an idea.
It's true.
He already did the book signing if you're watching it not in 2025. Okay.
Well,
Anyway.
hippos are hot, right? Isn't it? Aren't they watching it in the zoo somewhere? Like they had a little baby hippo.
Oh yeah, oh
Right.
totally. The pygmy hippo, the
Yeah.
mudang.
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's actually a
Time is perfect.
really cool
I
book.
know. That's why I had to get it out.
I mean, you've got it like schools are sharing it, right? Or you gave them to libraries or schools? What was
Yeah,
the
it's
deal?
been it's in like 4 or 5 school libraries. Like
Cool.
It's in Aurora's downtown library, Plainfield's library. It's in I forgot where else. A couple therapy offices. Yeah, so
Nice.
I'm pretty excited for it.
I think that's going to be a really cool event. You're going to see a lot of people that know you from the show here too will probably be there.
Yeah, should be exciting. But yeah, I don't know. Back to Judd. Like what kind of like spawned your career? Like what kind of made you focused on homeless? The homeless
Yeah.
and that is
Yes, you're here. We're here to talk to Joe, right?
Judd.
Okay, I'm on
Judd,
Facebook now.
J-U-D-D.
Judd.
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 You pay
Yeah.
attention.
You know what? I tell everybody that I've had
Don't
some
worry
health
about it.
issues last year. Ever since then, I can't hear. I don't always remember
Oh,
stuff. It's kind of
Sucks
crazy.
getting old.
But anyway, go ahead and reintroduce yourself,
Yeah,
buddy.
Judd Lofchie, Judd, last name Lofchie.
And he's the founder of the Streetwise magazine,
Yeah.
which is like everywhere. Is it mostly just in the Midwest or Chicago now?
Yeah, Chicago, we have an office downtown. We've always had an office in, either downtown, South Loop, West Loop, or Uptown. But yeah, we're Chicago based, and then the vendors get these magazines, and they take them as far as they can.
Maybe into Wisconsin when they get to Milwaukee, you think?
I don't think so, Milwaukee, but as far as Winnetka, Wilmette, Highland Park, wherever the trains go, and Oak Park and South Shore, so wherever they can go and get in front of a Jewel or a Walgreens or CVS.
That's pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
it's not just Streetwise Chicago; it just happens to be based here. You founded it here,
Yeah.
and you did that. I mean, I've seen it since I think in high school. You must have done this a while ago, right?
Yeah. 1992, August of 1992 is when we
That's
came
what I
out with our first
thought.
issue. Yeah, 32 to 32 and a half years ago.
What a
is so
great
cool.
thing.
Yeah.
How did you get? But were you selling it, Joe, or what were you doing?
No, I just knew about it. I was I was homeless in high school. I just kind of was addicted to a lot of different drugs, kicked out of Plainfield North, and then Plainfield Academy was kicked out of there. So like all that stuff got like deep into my darkness, to say the least. And when I went to college and after rehab and stuff like that, I started realizing I wanted to help the homeless. So I kind of created my own little ministry in Springfield, Missouri, which has a larger like homeless population per capita than St. Louis or Kansas City.
Wow.
So
And did you see it down there? Because he was saying, there goes where they can take it. You didn't see the map.
No, I didn't see it down there. But when I
paper.
did research on homeless companies, and when I would walk through the streets of Chicago, I'd get a Streetwise because they would talk about how that helped fund them, and help them, and it was like, wow, that's a way to give back. And I grabbed a Streetwise, and I also tried the one in New York. I forgot.
Street News. Yeah.
Street News. Yeah.
At one time, there were like 40 papers all throughout the United States and then all through the world, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Based on what you founded, or they did kind of their own thing?
When I started a charity with another woman, we were having fundraisers for Lakefront SRO and Lakeview Shelter, and I said we need to do something different. So after 6 or 7 of those, I saw something on CNN. 1992, there weren't as many TV stations, but anyway, I saw a paper in New York. So I called them up and they helped. They said, this is how you do it. And called London. There's a big one in London. And then I started here, but we helped start other ones around the country. They would call for help. And then, I'm a lawyer and a realtor. So you're in this association or that association. So, and a few years after I started it, I got all the homeless papers in the United States to come to Chicago. We had our first ever trade association. We called it the, we merged, what do we call it? National Association of Street Newspapers. And then years later, there was one in Europe and we merged.
Oh, wow.
And now it's the INSP, International Newspapers Association. Wait, INSP.
Wow.
Anyway.
So dedicated to the causes and talking about homelessness.
Right.
Basically.
So we share articles, and we have conventions. I went to Seattle to speak a few years after that. And just like a trade association.
Have you guys ever thought about branching into kind of like the social media aspect of it with People of Chicago, sort of like how People of New York has that? Have you ever seen
No.
People of New York?
No, I haven't.
It basically just focuses on the homeless community and tells their story with a photographer, pro photographer gets really nice pictures of these people so that their story's told and that they're actually seen as a person, as a face. I think it might be just a cool way to go at it.
For sure.
And also reinforce the Streetwise mentality in a sense.
No, I mean, our paper is a general interest paper, and we have stories about our vendors in every paper. But that sounds really interesting. I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
So how do you get the content of the paper together? Who is doing everything?
We have an editor, a part-time editor. I mean, she's 20 hours a week, who manages it, and we get a lot of interns. We get articles from people. We get poetry from
Oh, nice.
People who want to get their stories. Everyone wants to get their story published. So we have freelance. We have an editor. We have a graphic artist. We have someone helping with ad sales. But
I think of you and I think of the reader. Those are the two that I always would pick up in the city.
Yeah.
Good. So I mean, I don't know if you have the same size staff as that's what I was asking.
No,
I mean,
no.
they even though they cut staff, they still have quite a few people working at the reader
Sure.
at least. But the point is, you see it not necessarily people selling it to you like the people that sell Streetwise, but you can find it pretty much anywhere in the city.
Correct. Yeah, I think the reader's free. Honestly, I don't go get down enough, but we used to have News City, the Defender. At one point, we were like the third largest paper, fourth largest. It was Tribune, Sun-Times, The Defender, and then Streetwise. We were up to 170,000 a month.
That is awesome.
Yeah, we
Wow.
we started it, and I was worried, would it work or not? You know, because we were going to shelters to recruit people, and people are like, "Oh, what? Yeah, I don't know. Is this legit?" Because a lot of people ask homeless people to do stuff for money, right?
And then they don't follow through a lot of times too. Like
Right.
there's a lot of people who just like use homeless people.
Exactly.
You know, and like
Cheap
that's the worst
labor.
part. Yeah.
So I said, all right, bring another vendor in the first week, August 24th of 92. And by the end of the week, we had 300 people who
Wow.
were wanting to sell the paper, selling the paper, making money. And it took off. I mean, literally.
Was it at newsstands too, or just the people?
No,
just
we just
the
wanted the
people.
vendors to sell it.
Okay.
At the beginning, you know, it was like a new thing, right? So they were selling on the trains and the bus, the L, the subway, the CTA, and that didn't work out. So we stopped that because it was a little in your face, a little annoying.
I mean, I don't know if don't you have to get a permit maybe
Yeah.
at that point?
So
that
we-
might be one thing that
Yeah, we have
down there.
absolutely. We have a program. You have to come in. We have to do orientation, like a 3-hour training program. They have to come every other week. We give them a badge. They have to sign a code of conduct. You know, no drugs, no alcohol, no offensive, no. You know, you can be, hey, you know, would you like to buy paper, but not like, hey, you gotta, you know,
Not
gotta be nice.
abrasive.
Right.
You don't want them to get political or anything, right?
Yeah.
Start swearing at somebody. I
Right.
get it.
Yeah,
You didn't like my article? Well, you know, I get it. You don't want that, obviously.
exactly. The cool thing is when one of the vendors, because we have a lot of vendors write articles, they'll write an article and they'll tell somebody about it. So then they'll buy it to read it, you know, and then it kind of gives them a legitimacy, you know, to.
Have you seen any major success stories
Oh,
from
yeah.
the staff, the people that have worked for you in that sense?
Well, when you say the staff, you mean the vendors, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
people selling it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
People
no,
selling it.
Sure. Yes. Well, you know,
Circulation, guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
vendors we call them. But you know, I think it was in about the 5th year, Northwestern Business School did a study of our vendors, and they found that 40% of them got either another job, part-time or full-time, or a place to live as a result of selling Streetwise.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
interesting.
Have any of them like written back to you guys? and,
Oh,
like, kinda
yeah.
Come in?
Oh, I'm in
That's so
touch with them.
cool.
One of them, you know, I helped get his CDL back, his truck driver's license back.
Oh
And
wow,
he just called me and he said, you know, I want to buy a truck.
that's
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah, another one. I said, hey, he saved money. I want to buy a condo. You know, I need you as a lawyer to help me buy the condo. So absolutely, we have construction.
They sold a
landscaping.
lot of papers.
Sold a lot of papers. Yeah. Or they sold a lot of papers. They got a place to live. You know, at one point, I had a friend that had a hotel on the corner of right off the corner of Ohio and State Street, the Ohio East. Single room occupancy hotel. We used to have those, you know, one bed, $100 a week, $110 a week. I had 52 vendors living there, because when they
Wow.
were selling papers, I'd call them up and say, "Hey, Lori, we got a person who's selling 300 or 400 papers a week. I know they can afford your $100 of rent, because if they're selling a paper for 100, they made 75 cents of it, you know, or
Yeah.
400. So we have a lot of success stories of going on, getting their life back together. I think half our staff are former vendors. You know,
Let's talk about that for a minute, because that's kind of a dying thing. There used to be a ton of them in Chicago, right? What do they call them? SROs, I think, is a term they use.
yes, it is a
I
time.
lived in one. I know.
Libby lived in one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Libby did?
Yes, I've lived in one.
Which one? You remember?
No kidding.
Argyle and Winthrop.
Sure. Yeah, we were in
I
Uptown.
never knew shit.
Yeah.
I learned something about everybody
Yeah.
here every day. I'd never heard that
I've
before.
told you the story.
I didn't think it was like actual SRO. But wait a minute. I thought SROs were mostly men.
No,
No, they have both. I mean, some of the Ys
Oh,
are. But
wow.
there's nothing wrong with an SRO.
no.
But what happened is, when the condo craze hit Chicago, if you have an SRO and you got 40 units and you're getting 400 a month, right? You could sell it for whatever, 100,000, let's say. So they would sell it to a developer who would cash in on it. So the SROs have gone away. So many of them.
So
Mhm.
where do they have shelter while they're selling for you during the day? Where do they live then? If
Well,
they can't go there.
Yeah, I would say a third of our people have their own housing, probably at least, maybe half. They'd be homeless if they didn't have Streetwise to sell to make money. But the biggest one is Pacific Garden Mission, a big mission downtown. I
Sure,
think
I've heard of it.
holds
People from Chicago, I'm sure, know it. It's in movies. It's been in movies, or that the exterior of it.
50, I think it holds, like, used to be small, or it was, you know, relatively big. Now I think it's like 1,500 people. You know, it's
Whoa.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's very big. And but it's also very Christian. They have a lot of rules, and some people don't like that. And
I used to go to the rehab I went to was very Christian. It was Teen Challenge. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Yeah.
Is what he's talking about, and even the mission, are they considered SROs? No, right? That's separate. That's totally
shelter. Like you're in a big room with 50 cots in it or something.
Oh,
I
yeah, a
lived
lot
at
of
Devereau's
bunks.
place.
What's that, Libby?
I lived at Devereau's place
yeah.
for 4 months.
Sure.
And that's how I know about Streetwise.
Oh, cool.
Because
Yeah.
2 of the girls from the shelter was taken in a picture at the back of the paper. I know her name was Peggy, and I forget the other ones, but I was like, wow, that's amazing, because I actually knew somebody that had to do with it.
Were you out selling the paper too?
No.
Okay.
But I saw it in Chicago. They used to
gotcha.
pass it around.
I was like, man,
Sell it.
Libby's done a lot of things besides being with me on the radio, right?
But that's
Interesting.
how I heard of Streetwise, because I lived in Chicago at that point in 1999. So
Wow.
And I was
we
homeless,
just met
so-
the founder. I mean, I'm like, wow, this is really awesome to have
Yeah.
you on. I was like, I don't know what I thought. I thought maybe the city started it, to be honest.
I want to thank Brian Farbelow for
Yeah.
giving me the info to reach out to you, because I was really excited when I heard about like what you've done in your career.
Thank you. The cool thing is, Joe didn't mention this. We reconnected because he was volunteering at the homeless shelter in Aurora.
Okay.
And I was volunteering there, and we met through this mutual friend.
Yeah.
And so he's giving back now, which is very cool.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Again, Joe, there isn't anything I don't think Joe has done or tried to do at this point. We've been doing this show. Well, Joe joined us in I think June, right, of last year. Was it June, somewhere around then? Maybe
like May.
Maybe it was May even. So,
Yeah,
and
May.
every week, I swear, I hear a new story. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So I want to know more about the actual paper.
Sure.
And you're getting into the distribution, but you then are not necessarily. You don't live in the city.
No,
you're
used to. When I started, I would be there 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'm sorry, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then 9 a.m. I'm in 6 to 9 in the morning, 6 to 9 at night, and then I moved to suburbs. Years later, and still the board president for many years, and then let it go. We had John Reinsdorf was on our board, Pete Cadence. We have some successful, sharp people. Pat Quinn, former Governor Pat Quinn's on our board right now.
Oh wow,
No
that's
kidding.
cool.
I know him personally. His
Yeah.
mother was my like a secretary assistant at my grammar school. So small world.
One of the
and then I
nicest
went to
guys.
Fenwick High School in
Yeah.
Oak Park, which obviously he went to Fenwick.
Did he? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a small world. Wow. I
Yeah.
didn't know he was on the board of Streetwise though. Is that recent that he did that?
Yes, and I would say the last year, maybe year and a half.
I was
but
going to say it has to be more recent.
the
'cause,
cool thing is not only he's lending his name, but it's Danny Davis, who's from right around here, right?
Yeah, he was an alderman.
rep-
Now he's a
State rep
US
or
rep.
U.S. congressman.
US rep, right?
forever.
Yeah.
Danny, and he's been very helpful to us. But he's sort of a emeritus, where Pat comes to board meetings and volunteers and helps. He's
Wonderful.
got connections. He's helped me with my political career, so he's a great guy.
Were
Yes,
you at
thank
one
you, Pat.
point, and were they the board? Do they like have? You're talking about having an editorial staff. Did they get to choose some stuff? Like at meetings, you say, "Okay, we're going to talk about these stories this month
No.
or whatever, or this week."
Like I'm a lawyer. Like any nonprofit, the board's got to stay out of the daily.
They're not in the day to day. I
Yeah.
I think so. I just
Yeah.
thought I'd ask, since you founded it, I
Yeah.
figured maybe you still have some
Well,
input.
I mean, I'm the founder, so if I have someone who, I know who might have a great article, I would certainly send it over. But
Okay.
yeah, and board members, sure, we it's not like a Chinese wall. If they have things they can help and stories, absolutely, they send them to the. But we have a good board, and actually a few years ago, so COVID really hurt, right? Because we made 80% of our money of people getting off the trains, going to work in the morning, going back, right?
Going to the office.
Right, walking by. But when COVID hit, think about it, downtown died.
It was sparse.
There was, like,
I was
nobody
working
out, right?
downtown,
Right?
and yeah.
I mean, I guess if you worked at Walgreens or something, you could still go to work, but most people no.
Right, so it killed the vendors' income. We got them on Venmo, which helped, and it's better now, but it still hasn't recovered.
Yeah. It's
You-
definitely been.
You
been
have
tough.
them. You can get paid. You could pay the
Yeah.
vendor with Venmo now.
Yes.
Oh wow.
yes.
Boy,
That's
modern
good.
Times.
So they all have phones now with their.
Most
with
of them
themselves,
do,
so
yeah.
have
Or a
phones.
tablet or
Yeah.
something, right? It's
Most
got to
of
have
them
a
do.
tablet or a phone for that.
Yeah, they do. Most of them do, or there's programs to get them a free phone. But
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wait, you would have to be a phone because most tablets I don't think have internet on it.
Well, you
So-
could just give them your Venmo name or something if they didn't happen to have their phone. I mean, it's a, like any Cash App. You just, here's my handle. Send me $50 or send me $3 for the magazine. So it went from a newspaper to a magazine. Now it's a 4-color magazine.
I was going to bring that up. You just did.
Yeah.
That it's changed over
Yeah.
the years. It looks more like, I was going to say, more like a magazine.
We went from monthly to twice a month to weekly, to newsprint to 4-color magazine, weekly, and it went from $1 to $3.
I was going to say the price went up.
Yeah.
I noticed that last time I looked at one. I was like,
Did you ever end up working with Mission Possible at all?
Heard of him.
Gary Bear. He was in downtown Aurora for a bit. Yeah.
No,
No?
isn't familiar. I've heard the name, but no.
Yeah, I didn't
he's
know.
from Aurora, yeah, but yeah, okay, so we gave it out. So
Yeah.
we'll get into your involvement there in a second. But
Yeah.
back to the city and the board. So you went there during the day when you started, and then you were actually practicing law, so you had to go to court
Yeah.
and stuff, right?
Law and commercial real estate. Yep. But I started Streetwise with a woman, Casey Kovganka. She was in my church. She worked for the Tribune for like 17 years, and she wanted to do something. I said, hey, let's start Streetwise. Let's just homeless paper. And it took a while to convince her, but she moved to my office. We did a business plan. We started recruiting. It took a lot longer, but God bless her. She helped me start it and was the editor for a while. And the rest is history, really.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
And man, I didn't know. I knew it was. I thought I remember high school, so like 90, but you said 92. So
Yep.
wow,
Right?
that flew by.
Yeah,
it sure
has.
did. And you've grown quite a bit. I mean, so
I
now
was
again,
one.
It's a weekly, yeah, right. But you
Really?
said it.
Yeah.
You said it's a weekly,
Weekly.
and
Yeah.
it's like 4-color, and it's
Magazine.
$3 now.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
So
everybody that's wondering, go get your Streetwise from your local vendor, anywhere you can find them in Chicago or
Right.
some of the suburbs.
Yep, absolutely. And they buy it for. So here's how it works. They come in, we train them, how to work, how to look, how to act, blah blah blah, how to manage your money, right? And then they go out and they sell them. I mean, and this is a longer training than that, but we give them like 20 free, right? So they go make say $50-$60, and then they buy them from then on. We have a location, they pick a corner, and then they buy them for $1 and they sell them for $3. So they're like an independent contractor.
Wow.
And some of them work 60 hours a week and some work 10 hours a week because they have doctor's appointments or it's extra money to prevent being homeless.
Mm-hmm.
We got a guy who's a truck driver now, and
Like you mentioned, a truck driver.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
he doesn't get enough hours, so we sell Streetwise on weekends.
You guys do money management courses too for them? That's cool.
It's a 12-session
You,
class.
you mentioned
and,
that. Let's
yeah.
delve into that a little bit. What is
Yeah.
the program? What's involved in the program to get them to be a
Boy,
vendor?
I haven't been there a while about that, but essentially, how to look, how to act, how to be professional, how to dress, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I see them in all different outfits, so just
Yeah.
don't want them to look like they've, been out all night, right?
exactly. And how to be consistent, right? So many of our vendors stand in front of a, God bless Jewel, Walgreens, CVS, some restaurants. They let them stand there day after day, Starbucks, whatever. And the manager says, wow, it's winter out. This guy or woman is out there 6 hours a day. I'm going to hire him. So they get jobs from them. We tell them that, do that and then get to know the manager and then maybe they'll hire you, right? So, we teach them stuff like that. We have a full-time social worker there to, help them with their issues. We have someone refers them to housing, to medical, dental.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Joe asked about money management. What
Yeah.
about how do you deal with that for them?
I mean, I got to send you guys a video. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not, but, how to budget. Like, this is how much you need. This is how many magazines you need to sell.
Okay.
So in the video, I was just thinking Ed is his name. Says some days I'm out there for 4 or 5 hours. Some days I'm out there 12 hours to make enough money, to pay my rent.
Is there a minimum amount of papers they need to get from Streetwise to then sell as an independent contractor? Vendor?
I think it's 20.
Okay, so it's not like they got to go crazy.
We're pretty, if somebody comes in and says, "Yeah, I got $19 or $10, whatever," we're
I
we're
got
all about helping them,
I
And
got
honestly, we'd love to be out of business. We'd love them all to have jobs and
Housing. Yeah.
right.
Mm.
It's just
At this point, you've had such an awesome run there. Yeah, hey, everybody got employed. We don't need the Streetwise anymore, right? But I like the articles in it.
good.
You know.
Yeah, we like to be, people ask what's in it. It's not like the one in San Francisco is a little very, all about the homeless. Ours is more like The Reader or New City. We want to make it general.
Yeah.
About the social issues, with a social bent, but
I don't think you get too political. That's what I'm saying. That's what I kind of like about it.
Yeah. And it's sort of general, restaurant views, sports, whatever, recipes.
You do have former Governor Quinn on your board, so I'm wondering, does he suggest, well, we better talk about this issue, or we better talk about the Commerce Board he used to be on? He started Citizens Utility Board. You bring up articles about that or something.
He's big on term limits, which I believe in. Like he's a consultant, as an attorney for a lot of towns or people who want to create term limits for politicians, which I love. But, as a nonprofit charity, which we are, I never took any money for Streetwise. And you have to stay apolitical. You can't get into the political realm.
I didn't think so.
No.
That's what I thought. Maybe an editorial, which I don't think you have editorials.
Not really, but, we just stay on the edge of social stuff, and here's what's good for the homeless and housing in the city. In general.
Save the SROs. There you go. That's a good article. I'm suggesting one for you.
That's a good one.
Peoria still has quite a few
Do they?
SROs, I believe. Yeah. So that's, I think that's what, when I lived out there, that's where I first went to rehab. That was like the first 4-month phase of Peoria. But they also have one in Chicago too, Teen Challenge.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Peoria probably hasn't gentrified as much as Chicago now.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure. Like, it's definitely. I like Peoria. I like parts of it, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely still pretty country out there. To say the least.
It's definitely not the population, even a quarter of the population or a tenth of the population of Chicago.
Right.
But it is growing. There's no doubt about it.
I like how Aurora's been growing. Like, but I'm
speaking of Aurora and Peoria, they don't go that far. Do they? You have them out there?
We've tried Aurora, but Aurora doesn't have enough walk around downtown. That's the problem.
That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
And I also, like, I'm glad they're moving the casino away from the downtown area.
Well, wait, there's still not by the train. Then you don't think it'd be enough by that train line right there, which is Burlington Northern, I thought.
It is Burlington Northern, but it doesn't. That station isn't as busy as Naperville. The two in Naperville on Route 59, those are busier. Not really. There just isn't. And think of people are rushing to the train in the morning.
It's the end too, so it's turning around, going back the other way or whatever.
And at the end, everyone wants to go home. I don't know. We tried it. It's just not enough. I mean, like Oak Park, I think there are towns that it could work and does work.
So what got you into like the political scene? I know, like you said, you're apolitical with Streetwise, but like what kind of made you? What kind of like branched you into?
Yeah, like politics? You're in Aurora, right?
Right.
You're not in Chicago anymore, so you're obviously not involved in Chicago politics. You're now in Aurora politics.
Correct.
Okay.
So I am a lawyer and realtor in Aurora, and for years I complained about how hard it is to do business with the city. And I've worked from Elmhurst where I grew up to Joliet to Crystal Lake, so I've dealt with 50 cities. Aurora always seemed to be one of the hardest, and I complained about it for so long. My friend said, "Shut up and run for office."
Right. If you're going to talk to him, there's a movie, The Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy, and they actually say it.
Really?
He's in the bathroom, and the congressman, they got so tired of me complaining. They said, "Why don't you run?" So I did. There you go. You did it.
Right.
You followed the movie. That's great.
So I was.
Isn't that how it is? Our last guest was the mayor of Plainfield.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of like wanted to run for something his whole life, liked helping people.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's always some kind of. Even he said there was like something that sparked him to want to go in and then do it.
Yeah.
What kind of got you? What issues made you do it? Because I mean, you heard about all the stuff people are reporting in Streetwise.
Yeah. So I grew up with two parents who were big volunteers. My mom was a tutor in Chicago and did picture ladies and all kinds of stuff. And my dad was president of Ray Graham Association, which is, for, I used to call them handicapped, now just, physically challenged, mentally challenged people. And, he hired them for his restaurants, and he said, they're the best workers I ever have. They show up, they have the best attitude, they're not calling in sick.
Ray Graham is based in Downers Grove, Illinois, isn't it?
It might be now. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah. I've talked about working there myself. I thought it's such an awesome organization.
It is.
Do
awesome.
PR. I don't remember what it was, like some kind of, like go to events and talk to people about something, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, what an awesome organization that you don't hear about that often. Here, your father was one of the people involved with it.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. Small world, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I always wanted to help people, and Streetwise obviously has helped, up this point we're like 13,600 or something people through the door.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's been a pretty good run.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So I always felt as, being elected official, each alderman had like $50,000 to give away to really 25,000 to charity. And, if you have an issue, you call the alderman, and sort of like Chicago, not as much power as Chicago alderman, but
Yeah.
you can help a lot of people. And I felt from 2017 to 20, I was an alderman, and I felt like it did help a fair amount of people. I got an ethics ordinance passed. So it's just kind of
wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
What was that ordinance?
Well, just sort of parameters for what you can and can't do as an elected official in Aurora. We never had one, but we didn't get a cap on campaign contributions, which is the biggest thing that even Chicago and Cook County have. You do business with Chicago or Cook County, you can only give an elected official $1,500 for 4 years. And
Unless you're with a PAC or something, right? Then I guess it's not limited, right? Anywhere.
But in Aurora, we have people giving the mayor 10,000, 11,000
Just direct,
a year.
no PACs, just give right
Correct,
to the mayor. Huh?
correct.
Wow.
And then the person's spouse can do it, and the marketing person can do it. And there's companies that have given the current mayor 200,000 almost, 100,000. Right. And they get big contracts, big millions of dollars in incentives for real estate developments or contracts to IT or whatever. It's wrong.
Well, your current mayor, he ran he ran for governor.
He ran for governor. Yep.
Were you involved with him at all before?
No.
Okay, because he's only 8 years there, 6 years, something like that.
He's been a mayor 2 terms, and he's running for the 3rd right now. Correct. I think we need 2-term limits. Like,
I kind of felt like he abused his power when his girlfriend of sorts got arrested at a dispensary, and a bunch of I feel like he overreached in a lot of areas, and that kind of irked me. I like what he's done with a couple of the things in Aurora, like the park system has gotten a little better over the past few years. Like, I like a lot of the parks. Some of the businesses are cool, but yeah, that kind of irks me when there's the abuse of power.
He's running again too, isn't he?
He's running again. The election's April 1st.
Yeah.
So there's definitely positive movement in Aurora. There's new restaurants and stores and stuff, but it still doesn't make it. You still got the pay to play thing is too pervasive.
All of Illinois. That's a lot of politics in general, anywhere, but a big Chicago thing, of course.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Maybe Aurora too. Then
love of money,
But it's just not right. I mean, it's just and during his term as the mayor, he became a partner in a law firm in Oak Brook, right? I mean, you're getting $189,000 a year. How do you become a partner in a law firm? You're either working hours there or you're steering business there, like some of the Illinois politicians that are going to go to jail or gone to jail or Chicago.
Well, I work for a big one that I think he works for the RTA now, but he had his law firm, but he was big. He was a state senator. Then he was on a bunch of boards. Then he ran for governor a couple times. He was the one that got in trouble supposedly supporting President Obama at the time when he was supposed to be running with the Republican candidates. This is partisan, it was partisan. And a lot of money's changing hands. Let's just say that, because he was still, from what I understand, still practicing his law.
You can still practice depending on what your job is, but you just can't do like, I think one of the aldermen in Chicago got convicted, right? You can't say, I'll give you the zoning change if you hire my law firm.
Well, that's what I think. Isn't that what for people who don't know, we're in Illinois. Isn't that what the former House Speaker got in trouble for?
He's in trouble now for it right now, yes. And then I think Ed Burke, one of the Chicago aldermen, got convicted for that, steering business,
So you had an ethics ordinance to talk about limiting where you can get the money from, basically. Correct. And it did pass.
It passed, but there's no cap on contributions, which is the biggest thing.
And like you said, term limits as well.
And term limits would be great too, yeah.
Well, it was a good effort. Yeah. At least you tried and you got something.
Hey, there's some type of change, so that's good.
I was gonna say, at least you got something through.
Right.
So are you currently going to run again, or you just did?
I just did. I ran, and then there was a primary. There's 6 of us, and I did not make the top 2. So
did you come in like 3rd? I was guessing
4th.
Really?
3rd guy.
I'm kind of surprised.
I know. Me too, to be honest.
I saw your sign literally everywhere.
Do you talk about your background? Like, hey, we're going to do all this, action stuff. And then, by the way, I'm Streetwise, A
little. I mean,
no?
A little. I did. Probably not enough. I'm not a great self-promoter, which is one of the reasons I didn't get elected. I'm not, Joe asked me to be on the show, and it's sure, but I'm not out there beating the drum about But I'm on the school board now. I got elected a couple years ago, and I love that. We've helped. And
Are those paid positions? I know some are, some aren't.
Ours are not.
Okay.
Zero.
That's a great position to have. I mean, everybody wants to know about what their kids are getting into in the curriculum, right?
I'm not so sure it's a great position to have.
Do you
It's definitely got to have its stresses. I
didn't want to get political, but we got a little political anyway. Both
slightly.
shows we did.
Yeah.
You're on the school board. What do you think about the whole federal thing? Like the current administration is trying to dump the federal.
Terrible. No, we need the Department of Education. We get grants and stuff through them, and without it, it's terrible. Yeah, I'm not saying that, maybe there's some waste, we can cut some stuff, but we need the Department of Education that we absolutely need it. And just to say we're going to wipe it out, give it back to the states.
Well, I don't know. Are you saying you need funding, like money programs, or the actual curriculum? Because I thought they kind of tell you what books to buy, even, and what.
No, the federal government doesn't tell us the books necessarily, but they give us money. Your federal income tax, some of that comes back to us. A lot of special education programs for.
That's what Libby even said off air. She was talking about they're getting rid of special education. I'm like, what, Libby? What? Yeah. That's horrible.
It is horrible.
Look, I'm all in favor of trimming especially the federal. There's so many levels. I've dealt with it. I've been involved in politics. Yeah. And I've tried to get grants and stuff, but I don't know about getting rid of everything. I didn't know that was what he was talking about.
Absolutely.
I thought he meant trim.
No,
not eliminate.
Department of Education. He wants it gone. He wants I think it was a woman he hired. He wants her to.
Linda McMahon.
Yeah, WWE.
Right. That's. I mean,
she's a.
Yeah.
I won't say it on the air. But you get my drift.
You get my drift.
Was she?
Yeah, whether they let her go or she quit.
Betsy DeVos, when Trump was president last time, she wasn't much better.
I don't think she wanted it either.
No, she was.
She wanted all her money to funnel in her charter schools and her businesses.
What's going to happen? I'm wondering what's going to happen if they do that. Yeah, I mean, I guess the funding goes away. Then there's no department to get unless you get it from maybe some HHR is another organization in the federal government. Maybe you'd go to. That's what I'm wondering.
I don't know, but I'm really excited that I'm someone who went to college, fortunately, for 10 years, right? College, graduate school, law school, right? Graduate law school. But not every kid should go to college. In Aurora, we have a 50% Hispanic, lower income. 90% of our kids are on free lunch, free breakfast. So for some of them, a vocation, trade schools. So West Aurora School District, west of us, we're east, had a beautiful vocational school where they can learn manufacturing and welding and stuff. So I pushed for it and we got it. We're starting to build it this spring and we're going to have this vocational school.
That is really cool. Yeah. A vocational school. And honestly, I think a lot of people, America has kind of created this, kind of perception of people who go to vocational school instead of college. And it's more of no, both are necessary.
Absolutely.
Both styles of schooling are very necessary for a country, a nation to function.
What I know about vocational, because I went to trade schools,
really?
2 of them.
Which one? Like what?
It's more focused on exactly what you want. You're not getting the humanities, you're not getting the business, but some do.
Right.
But you're more focused on your topic. But that doesn't mean, and they definitely don't advocate that you don't get other education. They'll tell you to go back.
Yeah.
I think you should be a student of life, like a student for life.
I don't think everybody needs college, but of course for a profession like you're in, I think I want you to be licensed and know something.
Right.
Let's study a couple of years before we put you out there in the court system.
But I went to Hampshire, the small town. They had a beautiful vocational center, and this junior in high school got offered. He's so good at welding. He's teaching the seniors. He got offered $81,000 to be a welder in Hillside when he graduates.
That's phenomenal.
That's amazing,
right?
Where were you? In Hampshire, you say?
Hampshire, Illinois.
Yeah. So the north. Wow, that's kind of country area.
And that only goes up as a welder, because as a welder, you could go up to $150,000 easily.
Yeah. I met during my campaign with all the unions, and the laborer, the lowest person on the totem pole, starts at $35 an hour with benefits and health insurance.
So is your district trying to push more for getting more trades involved? I would say high school then?
I wouldn't say we're going to make it available. I wouldn't say we're going to push kids into trades, but the kids who don't want to go to college, which is a lot, we've got an opportunity, learn a trade, welding, HVAC, electric. I mean, these people all make Honestly, I would think
I did
They make
both.
more than a lot of college people.
I was going to say it.
Like,
Yeah,
I went to
absolutely.
2 years of college,
Yep.
then another like at 2 different colleges. I went another like year of courses, but I didn't get the bachelor's.
Right.
But then I went to trade school in between. I feel like that did kind of give me a
Yeah.
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I don't have any degrees
Yeah.
though. I don't have any certificate. I do have a certificate.
There you go.
So, I mean, I think anybody, it's great that we brought this up.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that you would want to do something like this. You started Streetwise. I want to repeat that. That was pretty awesome that you did that.
Thank you.
I'm glad that we were able to get you on and talk about. I never knew that you were in Aurora, for instance. I always thought it was some big building near City Hall that started it, and you're still all down there, and there's this huge, budget and everything.
It's a $500,000 a year budget, but
that's small.
We
for
have
a
an office.
newspaper or
Yeah,
magazine.
it's true.
That is small.
We're at 20th and State, and we merged with the YWCA a few years ago because they have resources to help us.
So that you get funding from YWCA people?
Let's say resources, help.
But
not necessarily
so it's
money.
not men. It's anybody can
Vendors.
sell Streetwise.
Yeah.
Any vendor
Vendors,
can
yeah.
be
Vendors.
Streetwise. To be clarify that.
Correct.
I always thought
Oh,
it was
yeah.
just guys for some reason.
No, we have plenty of women. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen women selling them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just think there's
for
more
sure.
homeless men than women, probably, or in general, I would think.
yeah. Usually, a lot of times.
I mean, there's so much more we could talk about, but we limit it to an hour of
Yep.
time each show. I told our last guest we need to do more. We'll have you back. I want to hear more about what happens with your run again. We got to have you run again for alderman, and then see where you're at with the education stuff.
Sure.
And what district again? Let's repeat that. Where are you at again?
East Aurora, School District 131.
131 in East Aurora.
If you got 30 seconds,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
One-
I got time. We got a couple more minutes.
One more thing that I campaigned on, which I really believe in, and I'd like to see it in Illinois. So all across the country, there's like 400 cities that have this thing called the Promise. So if you're a high school student and you typically live in your district 2 years, they send you to community college for 2 years or vocational school for free.
That'd be amazing.
Started in Kalamazoo,
Wow.
Michigan, like in 2005, I want to say.
I love Kazoo. That's a cool
Yeah.
town.
Is that based on income of the family or the
It is.
kid,
You have
or-
to fill out FAFSA. So if you make a ton of money, you're probably not going to get it.
Oh.
But for
What's
those who
considered a ton
can't,
of money, I guess. If your
I'm
family
not-
makes more than 50 grand or something.
I'm
what-
not sure, honestly.
Okay.
I think more than that these days because, rent's expensive. But anyway, Kalamazoo, it used to be just community college and vocational. They got businesses involved, foundations, unions. And now, like I went to University of Michigan. You live in Kalamazoo, you can go to University of Michigan, Michigan State, Western Michigan for free. So
That's amazing.
and last year, the whole state of Michigan passed it. So every city in Michigan, if you live there, you get free community college or vocational, if you qualify.
That's insane.
Wasn't,
That's so
it-
cool.
wasn't even college at one point. I thought my dad said this. It was only like a couple of thousand when he was going to University of Illinois.
It sounds
But
like
was-
Europe.
It was
Like,
affordable.
where they're
Yeah.
getting college.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was
Yeah.
affordable back
It
then, but
was.
now what happened?
Right.
We need more of
No,
this.
I'm old, and I went to Michigan in the 70s, and I think it was $4 or $5 grand a year.
I mean, it's crazy. My
Yeah.
brother has children in grammar school that are going to be into the high school because it goes kindergarten through 12.
Yeah,
It's like $20,000 a year.
crazy.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it is semi-private. I mean, you get some funding, but
And
they're
then
mostly
All of
private.
that was 42K.
I know.
That was
This is
brutal.
crazy.
And
I
then
mean,
like these big schools have $1 billion in endowment. Why
why do
it
they
really-
need? Why do they need all our
Yeah.
money?
Well, I think the school thing's coming around. I think that enrollment's down, and I think they're going to have to. Reduce.
I love this. So you think it's going to go from Michigan to Illinois?
Well,
and
if I
all
was
the other
elected, if
states
I was
eventually?
elected mayor, I was going to start it. But even not being elected mayor, I still want to try and start it. I've talked to both the mayor and John, who's running as his opponent, and I'm hoping to get support from both of them.
I love that. I'm glad
Yeah.
we talked about that because
Yeah.
we're getting close to the end. But that is
Yeah.
awesome. I hope that again we have to have you on to follow up. And I
Yeah.
say that, but we got a couple other guests that are going to come back. So
Sure.
that is phenomenal. It is just so awesome to meet you and talk about everything. And I wish you the best of luck with
Thank you.
the board and doing. You're talking mayor now instead of maybe alderman. You go for mayor.
I
again?
did go for mayor this time.
I mean,
but,
go for mayor again. Is what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know. I don't know. It's right now. I'm tired. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of
It
money.
is
and
probably.
then people hate politicians, right? And with the climate, so we'll see.
I get that.
Yeah,
definitely.
we talk a lot about entertainment on this show for that reason, but I love having a little bit of everything.
I
for the
mostly
community
just
involved.
like to bring on people who I see as passionate about
Yeah.
something. have a drive to either, whether it's get their art out there or make their life an art form, which is kind of like you've kind of like made a mosaic of lives in a sense with Streetwise in that sense.
And again, it doesn't have to be politics, but just so happens that we got into it. But talking more about the Streetwise, and now this thing will be on. We're on the IntellectualRadio.com website. We're on the Intellectual Radio YouTube site. All of the podcast sites, Facebook. I just did Facebook Live, so there's a lot of people that can see this.
So if anybody out there seeing this, and you're in Chicago or the suburbs, you see a Streetwise vendor, make sure they have a badge, so that means they're legit, and then buy one. Don't just give them money, because we need the money
to keep it going, right?
And they need the self-esteem.
I think most people will give the $5 tip. So now you buy a paper for
I
it.
like taking the paper because I like reading.
Okay. Something to do on the train when you are commuting, right?
And a tip's okay, but take the paper because it's good for their self-esteem, and we need the money.
That's the truth.
And again, I like you to say your name. We've been
Judd Lofchie, the founder of Streetwise, and you can go to streetwise.org to learn more about Streetwise.
That is awesome. Thanks again for being here. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Same here. Thanks.
I'm glad you made it out here, because he's had to come all the way from Aurora, but he's not in Chicago anymore.
Yep.
And again, thank you for being here, Doug. Thank you, Joe, for having him on, and you being here, of course. And then, of course, thanks, Libby.
Thanks,
Libby.
Bye.
And Wanda for helping us.
Great
tonight.
show.
Thanks, Wanda.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I'm
Wanda.
Mario J. Bell. I'll say goodbye on the Facebook. Everybody take care. Listen next time. And again, you can find us pretty much anywhere there's digital media. You can find us, and actually soon to be on the radio. So everybody keep listening. Take care. Bye now.